In the heart of Europe, on a serene summer day in 2014, a journey of 298 souls was tragically cut short. Malaysia Airlines Flight MH17, soaring at 33,000 feet, became the unsuspecting target of a deadly missile, transforming a routine flight into a harrowing disaster. Join us as we unravel the haunting mystery behind one of the most devastating aviation tragedies in modern history. An event that sparked international outrage, reshaped global aviation safety, and left a scar that still demands justice. This is the untold story of MH17, where every detail brings us closer to the truth. On the morning of July 17, 2014, at Amsterdam's Schiphol Airport, Malaysia Airlines Flight MH17 was meticulously prepared for its journey to Kuala Lumpur. Ground crew loaded the Boeing 777 with cargo and baggage, while the cabin crew conducted safety checks and welcomed passengers. The pilots reviewed their flight plan as travelers settled into their seats, anticipating a routine flight. Malaysia Airlines, the national carrier of Malaysia, is known for its extensive network connecting Southeast Asia with destinations worldwide. Established in 1947, the airline has built a reputation for its high-quality service and hospitality, symbolized by its signature Malaysian hospitality experience. Operating a modern fleet, Malaysia Airlines provides both passenger and cargo services, and is a member of the One World Airline Alliance. Schiphol Airport, located just outside Amsterdam, is one of the busiest and most modern airports in Europe. Renowned for its efficiency and extensive amenities, it serves as a major hub for international travel, connecting passengers to destinations all over the globe. With its expansive terminals, state-of-the-art facilities, and a wide array of shops and restaurants, Schiphol provides a seamless and enjoyable travel experience. Malaysia Airlines Flight MH17 departed from Amsterdam's Schiphol Airport on July 17, 2014, bound for Kuala Lumpur. The flight path covered a distance of approximately 10,000 kilometers and was expected to take around 11 hours. The route took the Boeing 777 over several countries, including Germany, Poland, and Ukraine. Flight 17, also marketed as KLM Flight 4103, KL4103, through a code-share agreement, was operated by a Boeing 777-2H6ER, serial number 284101, registration 9M-MRD. This aircraft, the 84th Boeing 777 produced, first flew on July 17, 1997, exactly 17 years before the incident, and was delivered new to Malaysia Airlines on July 29, 1997. Powered by two Rolls-Royce Trent 892 engines, it had a seating capacity of 280, with 33 business and 247 economy seats. Before the crash, the aircraft had logged over 76,300 flight hours across 11,430 cycles and was in airworthy condition at departure. The Boeing 777, which entered commercial service on June 7, 1995, is renowned for its excellent safety record among commercial aircraft. As of June 2014, there were approximately 1,112 Boeing 777s in service, with an additional 340 on order. The flight crew consisted of Captains Wan Amran Wan Hussein, 49, and Eugene Chujin Leong, 44, along with First Officers Ahmad Hakimi Hanapi, 29, and Muhammad Firdaus Abdul Rahim, 26. Captain Wan boasted a total of 13,239 flight hours, with 7,189 of those hours spent piloting Boeing 777s. Captain Chu had accumulated 12,285 flight hours, with 7,303 hours specifically on Boeing 777s. First Officer Ahmad contributed with 3,190 flight hours, including 227 hours on Boeing 777s, while First Officer Muhammad Firdaus had accrued 4,058 flight hours, with 296 of them on Boeing 777s. Among the 283 passengers and 15 crew on board Malaysia Airlines Flight 17, the crew were all Malaysian, while over two-thirds, 68% of the passengers, were Dutch. The majority of the remaining passengers were Malaysians and Australians, with the remainder hailing from 7 other countries. The flight included delegates en route to the 20th International AIDS Conference in Melbourne, including Joe Lang, a former president of the International AIDS Society. Initial reports inaccurately suggested around 100 conference delegates were on board, later corrected to 6. Notable individuals such as Dutch Senator Willem Witteveen, Australian author Liam Davison, and Malaysian actress Shuba Jay were also among the passengers. Additionally, the flight carried at least 20 family groups, and 80 passengers were under the age of 18. Malaysia Airlines Flight 17 commenced its journey from Gate G3 at Amsterdam Airport Schiphol at 12:13 saddest, Central European Summer Time, slightly delayed by 13 minutes from its scheduled departure time. Finally, at 12:31 local time, the Boeing 777-200ER aircraft took off, initiating its flight toward Kuala Lumpur International Airport. The anticipated arrival time at Kuala Lumpur was 06:10 MYT, Malaysia time, on Friday, July 18th. After the 2014 Ukrainian Revolution, conflicts over sovereignty erupted between the Western-backed government in Kiev and the predominantly Russian-speaking eastern regions of Ukraine, which have close ties with Russia. Crimea quickly established the Republic of Crimea and, with the support of Russia, held the 2014 Crimean status referendum before being annexed by Russia. In eastern Ukraine, pro-Russian separatist factions established the Donetsk People's Republic and the Luhansk People's Republic. The Ukrainian government viewed them as terrorists and launched military campaigns against them. Kiev accused Russia of providing weapons to the separatist groups and supporting the uprising in eastern Ukraine, leading to a conflict that claimed hundreds of lives. Ukrainian airspace over the Donetsk urban area was closed by Ukraine on July 8, 2014, except for transit flights above 7,900 meters, 25,900 ft. Aircraft had previously been shot down in this airspace, starting with the downing of an Ilyushin Il-76 on June 14th, killing 49 people. On July 17th, a Ukrainian military Su-25 fighter jet and an Antonov An-26 transport plane were also shot down.
Malaysian 17, flight level 330. Malaysian 17, deeper radar good, radar contact.
Three hours after takeoff, MH17 was cruising steadily at an altitude of 33,000 feet. At this point, the aircraft was flying through Ukrainian airspace. The pilots were discussing the issue of armed conflict in the region. In order to swiftly exit the hazardous area, they maneuvered the aircraft to a speed of 915 kilometers per hour, higher than the originally planned speed. At 15:53 local time, while observing the radar, MH17 detected that its flight path would intersect with the flight path of Singapore Airlines SQ351, which was flying from Denmark to Singapore. The flight paths of the two aircraft would intersect over Ukrainian airspace. Both flights were cruising at an altitude of 33,000 feet, so one of them would have to ascend or descend to avoid a collision. At this point, Dnipropetrovsk Air Control, Dnipro Control, inquired whether MH17 could climb to 35,000 feet, but MH17 declined and preferred to maintain its altitude at 33,000 feet. ATC agreed to allow MH17 to maintain its altitude at 33,000 feet and requested SQ351 to ascend to avoid a collision. SQ351 agreed to climb to a higher altitude.
Malaysian 17, Dnipro radar.
Слушаю вас, Ростов на линии. Ростов, вы видите Малайзию? Она отвечает? Нет, похоже, его цель стала распадаться. Да, нам он не отвечает. Не отвечает, да? Да, и мы сейчас его не видим. То есть вы дали им прием, затем подтвердили и... И это все, да?
As MH17 proceeded on its flight path, it suddenly encountered adverse weather conditions. MH17 requested permission from ATC to deviate approximately 37 kilometers from its original route to avoid turbulence, with the intention of returning to the original flight path as soon as possible. ATC agreed to this request. The crew subsequently inquired about the possibility of ascending to FL 340, but this request was denied due to the unavailability of that flight level. Therefore, MH17 maintained its altitude at FL 330. At 16:19 local time, 13:19 UTC, Dnipro Control observed that the flight had deviated 3.6 nautical miles, 6.7 km, 4.1 km, north of the center line of its approved airway, and directed MH17 to return to the designated track. Unbeknownst to MH17, they had drifted into a zone brimming with military aircraft and sophisticated air defense systems while meandering through the skies. Prior to this, there had been numerous incidents of military aircraft and helicopters being shot down since the conflict erupted in eastern Ukraine. The threat became more evident as radar systems struggled to distinguish between military and civilian aircraft. This ambiguity was exacerbated by the fact that civilian aircraft, especially those like the Antonov C-130 and C-295 transport planes, bore striking similarities in speed and flight altitude to military transport aircraft. At this moment, a Buk missile launcher was deployed to the battlefield and activated. Meanwhile, no one aboard MH17 was aware of what was about to unfold. The pilots were discussing and maneuvering the aircraft to return to its original flight path.
Malaysian 17 at after points Romeo November Delta, expect direct to TIKNA. Malaysian 17, how do you read me? Malaysian 17, need for a radar. Malaysian 17, need for a radar. Malaysian 17, need for a radar.
Слушаю вас, Ростов на линии. Ростов, вы видите Малайзию? Она отвечает? Нет, похоже, его цель стала распадаться. Да, нам он не отвечает. Не отвечает, да? Да, и мы сейчас его не видим. То есть вы дали им прием, затем подтвердили и...
At 16:20:03 local time, 13:20:03 UTC, a Buk ground-to-air missile originating from an area southeast of the aircraft detonated in close proximity to the airplane, just above and to the left of the cockpit. The resulting explosion and missile fragments inflicted severe damage upon the cockpit, resulting in the instantaneous death of 3 crew members. Additionally, evidence indicates that shrapnel also caused damage to the left wing and engine. Subsequently, an explosive decompression occurred, causing the aircraft to break into pieces and leading to a loss of cabin pressure. The rapid descent further contributed to the disintegration of the aircraft before it ultimately impacted the ground, resulting in the tragic loss of lives of all passengers and crew. Communication with the Boeing 777-200ER aircraft was severed approximately 50 kilometers, 31 miles, 27 nautical miles, from the Ukraine-Russia border. Debris from the aircraft descended near Khrabov in Donetsk Oblast, Ukraine, approximately 40 kilometers, 25 miles, 22 nautical miles from the border. The shoot-down took place amidst the conflict in Donbass, specifically over land held by Russian separatist forces. According to the NTV television network's website on the same afternoon, pro-Russian separatists claimed on Twitter and Facebook that they had shot down a military Antonov aircraft after warning against flying through the area. "We just shot down an AN-26, wrote Igor Strelkov, self-proclaimed defense minister of the Donetsk People's Republic, in the afternoon. However, the separatists denied involvement in the Malaysian passenger plane. In an interview with NTV journalist Dirk Emmerich, the separatists also admitted to shooting down an Antonov. It was only during the conversation that they admitted it was a civilian aircraft. Ukrainian Interior Ministry advisor Anton Gerashchenko said the plane was shot down at an altitude of 10,000 meters, 33,000 ft, by a surface-to-air missile. Ukrainian President Petro Poroshenko called it an act of terrorism. The Ukrainian Security Service claimed to have intercepted 2 phone conversations in which pro-Russian separatists discussed shooting down a civilian plane. The rebels eventually located the plane's black box. On July 21, 2014, in Donetsk, the leader of the separatist faction, Alexander Borodai, handed the black box to Malaysian envoys. The investigation into the downing of MH17, led by the prosecution service of the Dutch Ministry of Justice, marked the largest in Dutch history. Detectives meticulously examined forensic samples from bodies and luggage, conducted interviews with witnesses, analyzed satellite data, communications, and network information. The Joint Investigation Team, JIT, comprising members from the Netherlands, Belgium, Ukraine, and Australia, played a crucial role in uncovering critical details. On September 28, 2016, the JIT revealed that the rocket responsible for the tragedy was launched from a rebel-controlled area near Pervomaisky, 6 kilometers south of Snizhne. Furthermore, they found evidence that the Buk missile system used had been transported from Russia to Ukraine on the day of the accident, returning to Russia afterward. The investigation involved interviewing 200 witnesses, collecting 500,000 images and videos, and analyzing 150,000 intercepted phone calls. On May 24, 2018, the JIT concluded that the missile came from the 53rd Air Defense Missile Brigade in Russia's Kursk region. This prompted Dutch authorities to seek information about the identities of Buk crew members and those responsible for their deployment. In response, Russian President Vladimir Putin denied Russia's involvement, calling for further analysis if Russia were to be involved in the investigation. However, on May 25, 2018, the Dutch and Australian governments held Russia accountable for the incident, seeking legal responsibility and urging Russia to cooperate. Numerous countries and international organizations supported the JIT's findings and the joint statement by the Netherlands and Australia, calling on Russia to accept its responsibilities and cooperate fully. Despite Putin's denial, recordings of phone calls released by the investigation team showed separatist leaders in Ukraine requesting military support and instructions from Russia before the downing of MH17. On July 10, 2020, the Dutch government made public its intention to bring Russia before the European Court of Human Rights regarding its involvement in the downing of Flight MH17. This action was aimed at providing extensive support to the individual cases already submitted to the court by the families of the victims. On January 25, 2023, the ECHR ruled that it had jurisdiction to adjudicate the case against Russia, citing evidence demonstrating that the separatist militias were effectively under the control of the Russian Federation, and that Moscow exerted significant influence over their military strategy. Additionally, on March 14, 2022, Australia and the Netherlands jointly initiated legal proceedings against Russia under Article 84 of the Convention on International Civil Aviation. On November 17, 2021, 3 men were sentenced to life imprisonment in absentia for their roles in the MH17 plane crash. The 3 convicted individuals are former Russian intelligence officer Igor Girkin, Sergei Dubinsky, and Ukrainian separatist leader Leonid Karchenko. The 4th person in the trial, Oleg Pulatov, a Russian, was acquitted. On February 8, 2023, international investigators announced the conclusion of the investigation into the 2014 Malaysia Airlines MH17 plane crash in Ukraine without initiating further legal proceedings. Specifically, speaking at a press conference in The Hague, prosecutor Digna van Butselaar stated that the investigation had reached its limits and the findings were insufficient to pursue new legal proceedings. Prosecutors also mentioned the inability to confirm direct involvement of soldiers in operating the missile that caused the plane crash. The Russian Foreign Ministry rejected the ruling as politically motivated, arguing that Dutch prosecutors had disregarded all evidence indicating that the missile could have been launched by Ukrainian soldiers from territory controlled by the Ukrainian government. Meanwhile, Ukraine welcomed the conviction of the 3 suspects. Russia has consistently denied any involvement in the downing of Malaysia Airlines Flight MH17, which occurred over eastern Ukraine in July 2014. Russian officials have repeatedly contested the findings of international investigations, asserting that the evidence presented is inconclusive and lacks credibility. They have accused Western governments and media of politicizing the incident to tarnish Russia's reputation on the global stage. While Minister of Transport of Malaysia, Anthony Loke, on May 30th, 2018, to Sun, and later on May 31st, 2019, Malaysia's new Prime Minister, Dr. Mahathir Mohamad, reaffirmed that, as of 2019, there is no evidence of Russia's responsibility for the MH17 incident, and complained that, "We don't know why we were excluded from the investigation, but from the start, we saw too much political intention in it, and it seems to focus on trying to pin it on the responsibility of the Russians." With 193 fatalities, the Netherlands is the country with the highest number of citizens affected by this plane crash. Many people hold Russian President Putin responsible for aiding the rebel forces with weaponry. The mayor of Hilversum stated in an interview with a local radio station on the morning of July 23rd that he demanded the expulsion of Putin's 29-year-old daughter, who resides in Voorschoten. However, Mayor Broertjes later apologized for his remarks, stating that his proposal stemmed from the sense of powerlessness that many Dutch people are feeling. Journalist C.J. Chivers of the New York Times cited information from an aviation official highlighting notable numerical coincidences surrounding this humanitarian tragedy. According to airline reporter, this Boeing 777 aircraft was delivered to Malaysia Airlines by Boeing in 1997, and its inaugural flight took place on July 17, 1997, exactly 17 years before the fateful day of MH17 on July 17, 2014, where 2 times 7 equals 14, or 2 plus 1 plus 4 equals 7. After the crash, it was announced that Malaysia Airlines would retire flight number MH17 and change the Amsterdam-Kuala Lumpur route to flight number MH19, beginning on 25th of July 2014, with the outbound flight unchanged. In association with the retirement of the Boeing 777 aircraft type from Malaysia Airlines fleet, Malaysia Airlines ended its service to Amsterdam on 25 of January 2016, opting to code share with KLM on the KUL-AMS route for the services instead. Following the shootdown, shares in Malaysia Airlines dropped by nearly 16%.